What's up, family? If it's your first time taking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you're representing. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you be in the loop. Let's see who we got here. Uh, Chevy Addict, what's up? What's up, Wayne? Victoria Winters. What's up, Diamond? What's up, Sean Ingram? X. All right, fam, I'm going in on this one. So, Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups has been arrested by Cash Patel, the director of the FBI. They arrested Chauncey and a group of other NBA players and associates. I'm not sure if other coaches were arrested, but this is a developing story. Terry Rozier, who is a guard for the Miami Heat, was also arrested. They are being investigated for sports betting. They mentioned one situation, one incident where Terry Rozier checked himself out of a game 9 minutes into the game, claiming that he had a foot injury. This is why I do not bet on sports. Well, I don't bet on anything. Now, I used to gamble. I haven't gambled in over 20 years. But I stopped betting on sports because it wasn't just that I it wasn't that I just because I thought it was the game the competitions were rigged. It was because when you're dealing with human beings, you don't know what a person is going through. I'm finna give y'all some game. All y'all fellas out there that still bet on sports, I'm about to give you some game that's gonna save you some change. When you bet on human beings, you don't know what that person is really going through unless you know what that person is going through. You know that person personally. You don't know who is going through it because they got trouble at home. You don't know who's feeling insecure and doubtful of their talents. You don't know who is intimidated by the guy that they're going to be going up against on a particular day. You don't know who worked their asses off and made their minds up that if I'm gonna lose this, they're gonna have to kill me for me to lose. You don't know that. A pair of lips will say anything. Yeah, them guys be before the competition, they be talking real tough. And how many times you see the opposite happen? You don't know who's motivated by the death of a loved one. You really don't know a person's financial situation and how that might motivate them to go harder. You don't know who's got a grudge against this competition, this competitor, and has vowed revenge whenever they have contact. You don't know. And you don't know who took some money to check themselves out of a game 9 minutes into the game. You don't know who took some money to shave off a few points in the game, or to score a certain amount of points in a game, or to hold another player to a certain amount of points in a game, to get a certain amount of rebounds, or steals, or blocks. You don't know who took money to guarantee that their team don't win more than 20 games, 40 games, 50 games. Maybe the team out of 82 games, the team has won 60. Now the bets, everybody's thinking like, yo, this could be a 70-win team. Now the stakes are really high. And you don't know who took some money to make sure that that team don't get to 70 wins or 65 wins. You don't know who got an upset stomach, who's playing on an upset stomach, or who checked themselves into the game injured because they had to play, trying to meet a quota. So this is why I do not gamble. I don't, and I especially do not place bets on human beings. Now I'll tell you straight up, if I knew the fix was in, if I had some information about the fix being in, and I just absolutely knew, if I had a credible source that that was a fix, yeah, I might take that bet. I might just take that bet. If I had a credible source that the fix was in, I might take that bet. But I don't bet on humans. I don't bet on people because you never know what you're going to get. You don't know what people going through. You don't know what'll happen. Look at how many people betted that Trump would never be president. Like if you go back to 2012, hell, if you go back to 2016, no human being on planet Earth in their right mind would have thought somebody as uncouth and unintelligent, uninspiring, could ever become president like Donald Trump. Nobody like him could ever be president. He just didn't have that dignitary persona. You know, he just don't come off as a dignified person. And obviously we've had some undignified presidents in the past, but at least they were able to fake it. Trump can't even fake it. He can't fake it. So most people never thought. I mean, people woke up the next morning and they said, "Well, Trump's your president." You know what the good man? Wake me up from this nightmare. Nobody would just believed it. Even the people who was voting for him really never thought that he would win. I don't believe they thought he would win. I thought they would think. I think that a lot of them was like, man, I really like this racist dude. This guy right here could help us get back to the good old days when we used to be able to rob and steal and take and kill and rape and do whatever we wanted to do. And we could just, if we didn't like somebody, we just run right up into the jailhouse and snatch him out of there and hang him up. Let's get back to that. That I was just doing that bitch because he reminded me of somebody like that, but I never thought we'd have a chance. So most people that voted for him never thought he could really be the president. They was just hoping against all hope that he would be. They were just rolling the dice. I don't bet on people. I do not bet on people. Betting on people, you'll get let down every time. Well, I guess not every time, but you'll get let down a lot betting on human beings. I bet on myself. I've betted on people in the past, and I betting on people. I've been let down more betting on people than betting on myself. Think about that, because I know I'm not going to let myself. If I bet on myself, I know I'm not going to be lazy. I know I'm going to get up and go do the work. I know I'm going to show up. I know I'll be on time. It's on me. So I bet on myself. I know that I'm not going to open a restaurant and be, rubbing people's meat patties on the floor. I know I'm not going to urinate in people's drinks. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you betting on other people, man, you never know what you're going to get. Because, people know how to play that role. People play that role that, um, you be thinking they're one thing and they're something totally different. You think somebody is this and they're totally different. They know how to play the role to get close to you. And just when you think that this person might be a cool person, they show you something different. So you just never know what you're going to get when you're dealing with people. So that's why it don't make me stop dealing with people. It don't make me stop meeting people and doing business with people or whatever. But it makes me put my guard up as I go forward. And that way when they do something slick or undermining, it don't trip me out at all. I just keep it moving. Miss Sean, what's up? What's up, Larry? If you're just not joining, fam, we got Portland Trailblazers head coach, Chauncey Billups, arrested by the feds for sports betting. The head coach, not assistant coach, the head coach, arrested for sports betting. And they got Terry Rozier over at Miami guard Terry Rozier, arrested, sports betting. And they got a bunch of other people. Now, why in the hell is a head coach? Would a head coach be involved in something like that? Dude, y'all make millions of dollars, man. That's just greed. That's all that is. That's just being greedy. This is if it is true. That's just being greedy. Making millions of dollars. And you still trying to bet on the side. You still sports betting. You still running an illegal scheme. Y'all know a lot of stuff go down already. But when you black and you get a high position, you get any position. You're not gonna be able to get away with some of these other dudes get away with what they get away with. You're not gonna be able to get away with it. If you become a head coach, there are already people that looking at you like you shouldn't have the job anyway, just because of your skin color. I don't care how many years you played the game. I don't care how high your IQ is. It does not matter how much more how much more you're a player's coach. Because they got coaches in the NFL and the NBA who ain't never played pro. But they're coaching. Some of them ain't never played high school sports. I mean, they never played college ball, but they're coaches. None of them are black. You don't get to be black and ain't played the game and get a job like that. So that lets you know when you get that job, you got to be on your P's and Q's. If you're black in America and you get a high profile job, you better believe the spotlight is on you at all times. And they're going to be checking all the time. All of those checks and balances that are in place where they're not being utilized when certain people of a certain hue is in office, they will be utilized from day one, even before you even get in, when you're being vetted, when you're running, campaigning. They're already trying to disqualify you. And let that be a lesson for any of you out there that might be considering running for office. If you get in office, you better make sure you don't take no money under the table or over the table or around the table, because you're going to jail. I don't give a damn how small the town is. I don't care how big the ring is and how everybody else is doing it and how long everybody else been doing it. When you do it, you going to jail. So before you go into office, you make sure that you have your business straight. And if you do use your office for favors, you make sure at the very least it's not illegal. Ethics might come into question. And, at the end of the day, when it comes to ethics, as long as you're serving the people, you can get around that. But you can't get around the crime. If it's a crime, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. When it comes to ethics, everybody knows that you scratch my back, I scratch your back. I don't give a damn who you is, what it is. That's what it is. So anybody that's acting like trying to take the high and mighty road on that, they're being fake. Because I know damn well if I'm in a position to show some favor, some love to somebody that I know that's got something going on, and I'm in the position to show them favor, I'm gonna show them favor. Now your job is to make sure you don't do anything illegal. Because I'm gonna tell you, fam, I'll be the politician that'll just straight up say, somebody say, well, the only reason why you gave him the job is because he's your friend. I'm gonna say, that ain't the only reason. I gave him the job because he's qualified. But does feel nice to give a friend a job. It does feel nice to give a friend a job. It does feel nice to be able to help a friend become a millionaire. So I damn sure did gave him the job. And what you gonna do about it? Nothing. You can't do nothing about it. Yeah, so that happens all over the world, fam, every day, and especially right here in the United States. That's all. Nepotism has always been in play in the United States, and it ain't going nowhere. Nepotism today, nepotism tomorrow, nepotism forever. What kind of what kind of person would I be to be in charge of hiring at a company? I'm the big dog. I'm the big dog. I'm in charge of hiring. My friend's daughter need a job, and she's qualified for that job. But I don't give her the job because I don't want nobody to look at me suspicious. I don't give her the job because, well, you can't work with family and friends. Shit. This country was built on nepotism. This country was built, most of the millionaires in this country got their money with family and friends. But they tell the black community you can't work with family and friends. And some black people are stupid enough to believe it because they self-hate. Many of them been brainwashed. They hear this stuff over and over and over again, and they just start believing it. It's like if somebody tells you that somebody is a liar. They, as far as you know, they ain't never lied to you. But now you questioning every time they say something. You're questioning. You're wondering, are they lying or not? Because you've been brainwashed to believe that this person a liar from this person over here who have ulterior motives. Every single stereotype that exists against black people in this country is a gaslight stereotype. These people accuse us of the exact same thing that they're often guilty of. And a lot of us, we can't even see it. Think about it, fam. I've traveled the world literally. And everywhere I went, chicken was on the menu. Everywhere I went, chicken was on the menu, even in countries where it seemed like I was the only black person in the people that I came with, right? Chicken was on the menu. At the nicest restaurants, at the most upscale hotels, chicken was on the menu. So you mean to tell me they just made that chicken for me because they knew I was going to come there one day to visit? They knew I was coming, so they changed the menu and put chicken on there for Willie D. People eat chicken all over the world. But in America, the news, the media, they put a narrative out there that somehow, some way, that black people just eat chicken more than everybody else. And even try to shame black people into not even liking chicken, not even wanting to eat chicken, because they don't want to be associated with the stereotype. Go to any hotel or motel that has food that serves food. Go to any of these inns that have a continental breakfast and you will see watermelon on the menu. They have watermelon out. Watermelon is going to be the fruit. It is going to be the universal fruit that they serve. Watermelon. Whether 100 black people have reserved a room or no black people have reserved a room, watermelon is on that menu. Who you think that watermelon is for? You think they just serving watermelon and throwing it away if black people don't show up and ain't nobody eating the watermelon? Everybody's eating watermelon because that shit's good. Man, ain't nothing like a good, cold, sweet, juicy watermelon. That shit tastes good. I don't give a damn what they say. I don't give a damn how they feel about it. I wish I would let my enemy tell me what to eat, how to behave, what to like, what to dislike. I know I kind of went a little left there, fam, but at least I gave you some information and some news you could use. You dig what I'm saying? I ain't gonna waste your time. I'm not gonna waste your time. I'm gonna give you some news you can use. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Chauncey Billups, if it is true what they're saying, if he is guilty, he messed up big time. If he is guilty, they're gonna put him in prison. You know why? Because they're gonna make an example out of him. They gotta make an example out of it because sports betting is a multi-billion-dollar business. And it's everywhere now. They've made sports betting so cool that you have politicians who are now endorsing some of these companies. It's big. And sports betting is not going anywhere. These companies like DraftKings are big business. So they have to make it seem like that they're doing something to maintain the integrity of the sport and to maintain the integrity of these sport betting companies. So they're going to make an example out of Chauncey. They're going to make an example out of Terry. They're going to make an example out of Damon Jones. They're going to put them in prison if they're guilty. Believe that. But this is what they do, just like when they arrest drug dealers. They know that Americans have a hand in the drugs coming to America. They know how do the drugs get in? The drugs got to get past somebody who was tasked at keeping the drugs out, right? Somebody who's getting a check from the US government has been hired to keep those drugs out. So how in the hell does the drugs consistently come in? How does it happen? Americans have to be in on it. So they're letting the drugs in, and every now and then They make a big pop and they put it on TV and they film everything and look at all the drugs we stopped. Look at all the drugs. A lot of times those drugs right back on the streets. It's all a game, man. It's all a game. They'll take a picture of a whole truck. Y'all think have when's the last time you seen them destroy the drugs? What did it, what do they when the drugs after they take the pictures and show the guys handcuffs and they show their prizes? What do you think they do with the drugs? They recirculate them. Makes sense. What do they do with all that money? All that money don't end up going back to the government. Some of that money be going right in here. That's why a lot of dudes like to work in those. They like to work in those type of fields, so they can stuff their pockets. That's why a lot of guys like being police officers, so that they can commit crimes and get away with it. Don't pay a whole lot of money. It's the same reason why so many people become politicians. People with money. You got people that have. You got people that have that's worth millions of dollars, sometimes hundreds of millions, sometimes billions, and they'll run for an office that only pay $60,000 a year or $20,000 a year, or let's say on the high end, 300,000 a year. Why would they do that? Why would they subject themselves to the type of scrutiny that comes with being a politician? Why would they subject their families to that? Open their families up to attacks? Why would they go from being a boss calling their own shots where everybody's bowing down to them when they walk into the building, and they don't have to worry about anything? They can be anonymous and they ain't got to worry about anybody talking shit and trying to hold them accountable for this and that or whatever. They ain't got to get up in the middle of the night for no press conferences or anything. Why would they just get up? Why would they just get up and volunteer to serve? Why would they do that and have to get up 5 days a week and go into an office and listen to people complain about their inefficiencies, the job that they're not doing correctly? Why would they do that? And now it's even easier because they have lobbyists. So now, really, a politician don't really ever have to steal now, because all they have to do is hook up with a lobbyist, get your middleman, and let the lobbyist go back and forth. The politicians passed a law to allow the lobbyists to go and talk to both sides and collect money and all this stuff. So now they don't even have to worry about going to jail. When the last time you heard of a congressperson going to jail over stealing money, taking brown bag money? They don't have to do it anymore because they got the lobbyists doing it for them. And the lobbyists don't have to worry about going to jail because the politicians wrote in the law to protect them. These people that's got hundreds of billions of dollars and millions of dollars and, well, it's hundreds of billions, but hundreds of millions of dollars and billions, they're not working in public. They're not working in doing public service because they love the people and they want to do right by the people. They're doing it so they can get more money and more power. At least most of them are. 99% of them are. If Chauncey is in the wrong on this, they gonna hang him. They sending him straight to prison, and they're gonna make an example out of him because they got that mentality: do as we say, not as we do. Do as I say, not as I do. Meaning we can do this, but if you try it, you going to jail. Look at Detroit. The Kwame, what's his last name? I can't remember his last name. Fitz Kirkpatrick. That's the name. Kwame Kirkpatrick. Is it Kirkpatrick or Kilpatrick? I think it's Kilpatrick. But anyway, he was the mayor of Detroit. He made a few moves where he looked out for people, his people. He ain't did nothing no different than all the other mayors before him did. But the fact that he was black and he was looking out for black people primarily, they took him down. They took him down. He had the same amount of influence, power. He held that seat. He had the same amount of influence and power and salary as all the other guys before him, but he didn't have the complexion for the protection. And that's the part he forgot about. So when you're black, you got to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, and you got to be on point because they are going to, the moment you get in there, they're going to try to remove you before you get in there. When they thinking, if they think that they're going to hire a black person, get a black person there, they're going to start trying to discredit you. You got to be on your game. Got to be on your game. This is why I go out of my way to hire black professionals. From my dentist to my dermatologist to my primary to construction, realtor, I go out of my way to hire black professionals. Accountant, because black professionals are going to be under more scrutiny than anybody else. They're going to be under scrutiny, even when they're trying to get in the position, when they're students. Then I'm not saying it's not possible for them to cheat, but it is very difficult for them to cheat and pass and get a passing grade, because even their professors in the back of their mind oftentimes do not believe that they're good enough. And even if they believe they're good enough, they be hating on them. So black professionals got all of the same worries and weight that others have, but then they have the extra burden of being prejudged by others and having others run interference on them. So they got to constantly be going, constantly be on guard, you know, constantly be on, playing defense. Yeah, offense, you got to play offense and defense at the same time. So if they get in, and then once they get in, the first time they do anything that somebody deemed to be not professional or whatever, they're going to put them on blast And now you're gonna have a chain reaction of people looking at that black professional like they're incompetent just because they had one unsatisfied customer. But when others have unsatisfied customers, they can have a whole damn string of unsatisfied customers, but they business still stay open, and customers still give them the benefit of doubt, including black customers. They'll still go. Man, if you're a black dentist, you fuck around and mess up one root canal. If you mess up a root canal, you sure getting shut down. But if you just accuse, you could be trying to fix somebody else's bad work and don't do it to their satisfaction. Man, people are man, they'll do everything they can to try to shut you down. You get a dental office. This is a true story. This happened to my old dentist, who was really a young black woman. She was in her 30s, like had a dentist office, and I'm gonna call them out, fam. I'm gonna call them straight out. In There's an area of Houston called City Center, upscale area called City Center. She had a dental office. She had a dental office in City Center. It was right. Uh, it was adjacent to the expressway, the toll road, and you could see so you could see it from the toll road. Nice big sign, you know, beautiful upscale shopping strip, beautiful upscale office. The latest technology, just a really, really comfortable place. When you go into it, it's really relaxing. Just really nice place, right? Her daddy, her daddy, uh, paid for her to go through dental school and paid for her office and all that kind of stuff. Just put the money up. Her dad put the money up, right? And they're from a little small town. She did great work. Her landlord, uh, the landlord was hating on her. The landlord would do things like when her people would park, her customers would park. The landlord would say things like, well, you have too many people parking over here. I mean, they didn't even have a rule for how many people can park. It was like free parking up in the front. You need to tell your people to park in the garage. You know, uh, he would say like you only get 2 spaces in the front. Now keep in mind, all of these other spaces are, are open spaces. They're not private spaces. They're open. Just like it would be if you go to any shopping strip or most shopping strips. These are open spaces. She had a contract with the company, the landlord, to post promotional materials uh, in the elevator and in certain areas, certain walkway areas or walkthrough areas. And it wasn't just her, but other tenants. They would rotate promotions. She never got her promotions. She was never able to get her promotions. She never saw her promotions being advertised on the property. Um, so they do these type of things and mess with you, dig at you, just try to run you off, knowing that this is not policy. This is not something they do for everybody, but this is something they do when they don't really do that. So somebody might say, well, if they didn't want her there, why did they let her get in the first place? Well, sometimes when you're dealing with corporations, big management companies and stuff, you may have one person who's in charge that may not have a problem with you coming in and giving you access or allowing you to rent the space or whatever. But then over time, what'll happen is sometimes that person may resign, get fired, or go to another department or go to another company. And then they bring in that other person, that asshole, who go in from day one and decide that they want to target you. This happens on jobs all the time. You got a great supervisor, you got a great manager, and that's hard to find in corporate America. You got a great supervisor, you got a great manager. What's up, Chuck Diesel? And everything's going fine. You've had your manager, your supervisor for 2-3 years, maybe 5 years. It's been great. It's been great. All of a sudden, that supervisor goes to another department or another another location, maybe even move out of state. And then they bring in an asshole from another location or another department. Now all of a sudden, your work life is a living hell, a daily living hell. So how does that happen? Why does that happen? Don't the company know that this person is not really employee friendly? He's not a person that he's not good. He brings down employee morale. What happens is that same bad supervisor or manager was working at another location, and he was bringing down morale at that other location, and perhaps they were losing business. They wasn't making as much money, because a lot of times, as long as they're making money, they don't give a damn how bad the supervisor or the manager is. They want to make that money. But once they start losing money and people start quitting, now they say, you know what, we better make a change. But they're not willing to make a change enough to fire that manager or that supervisor, and they ain't black. They're not willing to make a change enough to fire that person. So they move them to another location, or they move them to another department so that they can wreak hell on their new employees that they're over. So they take the bad one, just like what they do with police officers. They take the bad one and move them to a different department or a different, location. And they take the good one and send them to where the bad one was. And now the good one is over here, and these people over here, they're happy and everything's going good. Like, man, we got a great supervisor. Man, we got a good manager. Ooh, wait. And once that manager or supervisor get everything under control over here and everything's going good, all of a sudden, what happens? They move them. They either fire him or that person resigns because they can't take the dealing with the company anymore, or the company moved that person over to another department or another location, and then they bring in another badass supervisor or manager. When you work for corporations, very seldom, very, very seldom, do you get two good managers back to back or two good supervisors back to back. Very seldom. These corporations, they don't care about the people. They care about the profits. They are profits over people. What I want to know is how many NBA owners are fixing games? That's what I want to know. How many owners are involved in fixing games? Now you think, see, because what they do, they get us concentrated, they get us focused on the low-hanging fruit, the players, the coaches, What about the owners? If players and coaches are fixing games, wouldn't it be wise to assume that owners are also fixing games? But you never hear about an owner getting popped. You never hear about an owner going to jail, getting arrested for fixing games, sports betting. You never hear about that. The players and the coaches are making thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions, right? Well, since the owner got so much more money, he got more to gamble. The owners, man, they probably making, man, the owners is probably making a whole, they in a whole different lane. Man, you probably got owners out there making hundreds of billions. You know, not hundreds of billions, but hundreds of millions fixing games. But they ain't gonna do anything about that because that's too much like right. Miss Sean, I see you. What's up? China, CC, what up? Yeah, if I had a position like being a coach, like a position like Chauncey Billups, man, I'd be too damn. My nerves would be too bad to do something like that. My nerves would be too bad to risk it. Think about it, fam. And you're a head coach. You know how hard it is for a black person to get a head coaching job in the NBA. Dude, you beat astronomical odds, and you gonna take a chance like that? My nerves would be way too bad. I wouldn't do that to my legacy. And you know when a black person do something bad, if they get caught up, you know when they do something, you know uh, they gonna blame all black folks. They're gonna look at any other potential black coaches as somebody who might be trying to fix games also. When Pete Rose fixed those games back in the gap, when Pete Rose was gambling, fixing games, they put him out of the league. They shamed him. After he died, they put him in the Hall of Fame. They put him in the Baseball Hall of Fame after he died. Yeah, yeah. They pretty much restored his rights. They're gonna have the Chauncey Billups entirely different. Pete Rose was a coach making all that money. He making all that money, but still betting on the side. No, man. Greed will take you under. Greed will take you under. That's good money, man. Coaching money. That's good money. I don't know how much money he's making, but I know he a coach in the NBA. And I know it's at least $1 million, at least a couple of million. That's good money, man. You can take a couple million. If you're a coach in the NBA, you can parlay 100. You could parlay 1 million to a 10 million and 10 million to 100 million. Because if you're a coach, you're a head coach, you go to all of the major events, you're invited to all the major events, you're around billionaires and people that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars all the time. Who wouldn't want to do business with the coach of the Portland Trailblazers? There are sports fanatics out there who own their own companies who would love to partner up with him in some type of business venture. Would absolutely love to do that. You can go get the money, man. Go get the money legally. You can get it legally. You don't have to try to take the shortcut. But this ain't nothing new, fam. This mob sting been going on for hundreds of years. This has always been happening. I think back when the Houston Oilers lost to the Buffalo Bills. Some of y'all might be old enough to remember that. The score was 35-3 at halftime. No team in the history of the NFL had come back from a 32-point deficit to win a game in the history of the NFL. And I believe the final score ended up being 38-41. I believe. I think Houston ended up with 38 points. They scored one field goal. And Buffalo scored 30 some damn points to beat them. Family. Buffalo scored 38 points. I believe it was 38 points to beat them. That had never happened in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. You think somebody didn't lay down? You think somebody didn't lay down? That was the day I stopped betting on football. My little brother spent the night with me at my house, and I was up watching the game, and he woke up late. He came in the living room, and he was like, "Hey, who winning?" And I said Houston by 3. I was lying. I thought I had him right. I said Houston by 3. Remember, he taking my word that Houston is up only by 3, but Houston was up. Houston was up by 32 points, right? The game come back on. They showed the score, and he said, "Ah, man, you got me." He said they're gonna lose anyway. He did not like the Oilers. He was like, they're gonna lose anyway. I said, man, you crazy. I said, ain't no team in the history of the NFL has ever come back from a 32-point deficit game. Never in the history of the NFL. So I'm thinking like it ain't gonna happen. Now, if it ever happens, it won't happen today. Man, every damn time them damn boys touch that ball, touchdown, 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 touchdown. I'm like, God. So it had to be fixed. It had to be rigged because halftime, the Oilers just laid down. That defense laid down. In fact, they may as well not even been on the field. So that's when I stopped betting on football. I can name the time, everything that I've ever betted on. I can name exactly the time, and I can name what I was going through, where I was at. I can name exactly. I see it as clear as day. Uh, the moment that decided that I'll never bet again on that particular sport or thing, from football to boxing to dice. I was like, nah, I'm good. But this is for all you gamblers out there. This is for all the gamblers out there. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. This is for all the gamblers. When you work and get paid, you already won. No more talk.